That's why we're here, bro. This is real tech talk. Boom shakalaka. So who the hell are you, bro? You know, what are you into? What do you do? Yo, you can keep it real here. Tell me about these real estate traders.
Eric Brody is the managing principal of CEMVC LLC. All opinions expressed by Eric and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of CEMVC LLC. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. Clients of CEMVC LLC may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.
Welcome back, peeps. Real Tech Talk episode number 50. And I got to tell you, the quality keeps increasing because today we are bringing to the forefront technology that's changing the game, and you're hearing it on every public company is discussing it, AI. But what is AI's actual application to real estate and technology? And then will that technology then succeed? Well, today I got my homeboy Yakir Saadia here coming from the Middle East to talk about how he is taking a technology, making an application of not language models, actual computer vision, which is really only in security, and making that application to the real estate process. My man, thank you for coming through, bro.
Thank you for having me.
So listen, we've been changing up this format, and normally we've been going into how you got here and why and the rest of it, but today I want to start with what you're doing, and then we'll get into the how the hell you got here. So what's the name of the company? One sentence, what are you doing?
So we are at Paraspot. We help property management companies or owner-operators to manage their whole inspection and turnover operations completely remotely and automatically using computer vision.
All right, so let's back up. Let's go first to pre-computer vision. What is the process? We're talking about multifamily management. One of the most stressful parts of it is inspecting it when you walk in as a tenant.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're supposed to live there, and then you got to walk out, and now you got to beef with the landlord because he's got your security deposit, right?
Just been through that process a few days ago. Just moved into a new place.
And what happened?
Basically, how it goes is the following. It's been done in the same kind of way for a long time. We like to call it a glorified checklist because as it goes is that the property manager or the operator, whoever manages the property, goes to the property, inspects it with a pen and paper,
of course,
or with a tablet, Excel sheet,
right, or photos,
or even a checklist that they get from their property management software, whatever it might be. But they have to go there, inspect it, write down if there is any issue. Today, they can maybe take a picture or two of the location if they want to and had a little comment on it. Then they need to go back to the office to reconcile the changes and understand what they want to do.
And you were signing off it as a tenant, right?
Exactly.
You're saying, yes, I've received this property. It's the same way with the car lease. I'm receiving this property in this condition.
Yes.
And it's only as good as your eyes are.
Exactly. And if you missed something and then you found it on the checkout, move out, then, well, you're screwed.
Right. So let's talk about that now. So now, we curse.
Oh,
fuck,
cool.
piss, shit. You're allowed to say whatever you want here, you know? Get crazy. Just get it out.
Okay.
Say it. Don't spray it. So now you get to the end, right? You're the tenant. Boom. You move out, clean up the space as best you can, normal wear and tear. Then what happens?
Then what happens is that the property is inspected once more. And if they found any new issues, they go to the property, view all the situation, do the whole tour that they need to do throughout all the properties that they manage, go back to the office, look at the before and after, try to reconcile the changes. And again, they need to look with their eyes on what they took picture of, what they noted, and if they missed something or if they even didn't cover anything or didn't mention it because it's textual. It's not really giving you
right. So it's reconciling how you live there, right?
Exactly.
Which is a gray area, right? Because they can make something up. Not that I'm saying that is their intent, or you, the tenant, didn't see that or can't believe you did that damage. And then there's friction, right?
And that's exactly it, because it creates tension between the tenant and the landlord, and property management companies that are building a brand, it's affecting their brand.
Oh, man, it's probably affecting their brand, the way they feel about you, right? Because at the end of the day, the manager now has to make an application of cost, which you didn't discuss. It's not like you have a smorgasbord or a menu of what it's going to cost to fill each hole or whatever it is. Then they're saying, our contractors are going to charge that. And then they have your security deposit. So they're immediately taking that money and refunding you the balance, right?
Exactly that. And if you go into another point of view and you say the tenant doesn't believe that it happened and they want to dispute this, then you go through a process of dispute that can take a long time, costs a lot of money, and you're wasting a lot of resources for no reason.
And it's and I guess no lease has alternative means of dispute resolution, which is like mediation or something. It can become and
it changes between every state.
Okay, great. So now we understand. So Paraspot, right? Is that
Paraspot.
is now basically stating we can solve that issue. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go now into what got you interested and why is it that you can solve this issue for this very common issue? And then, which is even more fun, is how can that even be a profitable business? So let's first say, what happened to you that you were like, here's an application of computer vision that makes keep it simple, stupid, KISS makes the most sense?
Well, my family has been working in real estate and hospitality for my entire life. I've been around that. I've helped them operate it.
When you
seen
say hospitality, you mean hotels?
hotels or real estate.
Uh-huh.
And while being within this environment, I encountered a lot of situations of how real estate is operated, and I saw the lack of use of technology in it. I started working in tech very early on, and as long as I kept being involved in the real estate part of the business, then I was
So real
more
estate was the
enlightened
family.
on what technology how can technology affect it. And then once our company was already established and we've been through we tried to tackle it in a different way. We worked in Berlin with property management companies. I was there going with them to the inspections, doing the turnovers with them just to see how they go with it. And we saw how huge of a strain it is on their operations, on their resources, on how they manage and operate, and
Let's break it down.
even communicate with their tenants.
You've got communication with the tenant is taking time. You've got time to get to the asset, right? You have to then have someone actually inspect that asset, have that communication with the tenant, then put it in a folder for 365 days or not more, and then open that bad boy up at the end.
And even more than that, they need to go back, see what was before when they moved in, how it was when they moved out, see if they can find out any differences, and they don't really track everything. They don't really have documentation. Most of the companies, some do, but most of them don't really have any documentation, and it leaves them really cuffed. They don't really have anything to do with it.
All right, so let's go back. So the family business is in real estate. You're seeing that friction just because that's your existence.
Yeah.
But then did you go to school for tech? Like, how did it come together?
Everything I know, I taught myself. I started in tech when I was 18. I just came to a company, told them I don't really know anything, never coded, never knew anything. Give me the opportunity, and I will make sure that it's worth your while. They gave me a task. I did it well.
You coded it?
Yeah, they gave me like a coding.
You read that textbook that everyone at like Barnes and Noble is like, hell no, I'm not reading that. You just decided to read it?
Yeah, they gave me something in like Java. I didn't know anything back then. I learned it and did it for them within the time frame that they wanted me to do it. They liked me. They liked it. They wanted to give me the chance. And then I grew within this organization to a point that they really gave me the opportunity to learn whatever I want. And I was really intrigued. So once I got exposed to image processing, development, computer vision, I just couldn't get enough of it, and I tried exploring new things myself, developing algorithms myself. Well,
obviously, if you can frickin' find coding and then create code and starting to do it from that perspective, even though you're like an operator, now you're acting as a technician.
Yeah.
I imagine that computer vision got interesting. But tell the audience, so what is the development? Because I don't know if they understand, and then how you're going to make that application to the real estate business. So two-part is, first explain, it is AI, and we all hear about language models. So what's computer vision as its application to AI?
Computer vision is a subset of AI, artificial intelligence. It basically is able it's learning how to analyze visuals, KPIs from those visuals, and extract information out of it. So
if a language model is a finding pattern recognition, right? Mm-hmm. And it had to do with hoovering up all the information of the that's in the cloud or in the internet. Computer vision, right? I guess since the advent of smartphones, there must be another massive amounts of data and information that's visual.
Yeah.
So does computer vision is now picking up patterns in that?
Computer vision is able to extract a lot of information from those images. It really depends on what you want to focus on. If you want to focus on identifying stuff, if you want to focus on tracking stuff, or just extract general information that it might be.
So give me like the simple analogy as like where we were using computer vision that we would understand. Security, I assume?
mean, yeah, you can use computer vision in security, track even in like...
Tesla? Imagine Tesla, right? They're doing all computer vision?
Yeah, sometimes they even used it in like in other solutions like autonomous driving. But you can also see it in like military usages, tracking stuff, identifying stuff, being able to do all
right, because if you have thousands or millions of images of situations, it's picking up things that the human eye can't focus on, right?
The classic one that started off by analyzing visuals was facial recognition.
Right.
Yeah. So we basically take the visuals and extract information that is focused specifically on real estate.
Yeah, so now let's get it. Okay, so now I understand. So what was it basically as to what the company was and its application of computer vision? So what is Paraspot?
Yeah, so technologically wise or business wise?
One sentence business.
One sentence business. We help the property management companies and whoever operates it to handle the turnover operations and the inspections remotely using the computer vision. The tenants.
So you're basically saying, here's a better way of inspecting to mitigate the friction for someone moving in and moving out.
So if in the past they had to go to the property and do the whole process that we described earlier on, instead now...
Yeah, so tell us now, what is the experience with the Paraspot experience?
The Paraspot experience.
Let's hear it.
It basically helps them... empowers the tenants to perform the inspection for them. So the tenants receive a link or email or whatever it might be to their mobile device, and they can inspect the property from their mobile device without downloading any app, just from the web application. So they open up the website, open it up, integrates with the camera, and then it just leads them through the property on what they need to do.
So it tells you how to travel through the property.
Exactly. It tells them how to travel through the property. It makes sure that they cover and everything. And then once they're done, it stops by itself, loads for a moment or two, depends on the size of the property, of course, and the length of the video. And then a report is generated for the property manager. It shows them exactly what's the inventory there, if there is anything missing, if there is no inventory there, damages, if there are any damages there, what's new, what was there before, and shows them before and after pictures. So they
and
can
I
keep track
assume
of
better than any human, right?
100%.
Okay, so let's talk about it. You and I know you can now, and what you're stating is the human who is the tenant is empowered. They pick up the information in the room, okay?
Yeah.
They've picked it up. But how is it then that Paraspot is taking that data, and you said something very interesting. What about if they're missing inventory? I didn't even think about that. Imagine a shower head is missing. Imagine a door handle is missing. The fridge is missing a handle. Anything, wood is missing. Regardless, you're stating that the because you've taken those visuals, it will now generate that report. How do you do that?
Well, it's a lot of technical stuff that goes on in the background, a lot of different models that we have developed in-house for the past few years. Through millions and millions and millions of different data points that we have collected ourselves that are on proprietary.
So you picked up all of this data and probably other computer vision, meaning just files and files of inspections, right?
Yeah.
And then what? You check that the training model is picking up things that you know, meaning like you know that this door is missing. You make sure that it picked it up, and then you move that forward to the future to what the product is today.
Yeah, so without getting too technical about this, we help the model learn exactly what we wanted to identify, what we wanted to focus on. We then play with the tech behind it to see exactly how it gets the best results. And once we do this, we try to make it as automatic as possible.
And it's obvious that it's better than the human eye. Even if me, you, and everyone in this room was literally walking through,
at the end of
we
the day,
would mark everything, and that should beat it because looking at a pixel, right?
At the end of the day, it's hard for a human to go and see a large picture and identify the small details of it. And that's what it means inspecting a property. You can have...
And that's evolution, right?
You can have a hole in the wall. Yeah, you can have a hole in the wall that you won't be able to see, or you just skimmed through it, or you just had a bad day and you don't really have any attention to it. You just want to finish it and go back home. And a lot of times the operators, they are not the business, and they are employees of the business, and they don't necessarily has the same care as the person that actually is affected economically.
Not only that, I think all things being equal, we can all agree that if you're looking at it via pixels, meaning if you can take an image, create that actual image into pixels, it's going to find anomalies better than me and you ever could. We don't even have the same amount of cells in our eyeballs, right? September 17th to the 19th at the Venetian, Blueprint Vegas, baby. Now you're going to ask me what Blueprint is. Blueprint is the biggest real estate and technology conference in the country. Your boy is going to be there, and he's giving you a discount code. blueprintvegas.com/annex. Put it down, save some money. But if you are fascinated and you keep watching us and listening, where do you think we meet most of those players? We get together, we chit-chat, we communicate. 17th and the 19th of September, the Venetian. Be there and come say what's up to your boy. Okay, so now you have this baseline. It's reporting it. We hope it's accurate. Obviously, you can send it to everyone and they can say, is it missing anything?
Yeah,
but now you have this accurate record.
Yeah, and they can also see the media out of it, so they can even reassure themselves and go through it themselves. And they get all of the before and pictures from the different points of view that it appeared at. So if you see something that appears in one angle as if I'm not certain it's actually an issue, but then you see it from a different angle, and there you're 100% certain that it is an issue, because our models are able to identify it even in those sort of situations. So not necessarily when you look at it, you're 100% certain it is an issue.
All right, boom. Now they move out. Now what?
When they moved out, the inspection is done again by the tenant.
Right. So they moved out. The cleaners leave. Everything. They're like, oh, we did a perfect job.
Instead of doing the whole thing manually, once they moved in, they inspect it, they get a a move-in report. Then when they move out, they do a move-out report. And a lot of times when it's a long-term rental, multifamily, single-family, whatever it might be, they want to do even periodical inspections or even when the renewal of the lease to keep track on the condition of the property. At the end of the day, property management company or a real estate company, the property is their asset. It's what they're selling for.
Right. No, the manager definitely. They'd have an inspection every day if they could. But why would the tenant be motivated to want to do anything but move in, move out?
I mean, legally, the property management company can conduct the periodical inspections at a certain limitation, of course, depending on the state. Each state has a different limitation. But if the property management company wants to instate it in their lease, they can do it, and then the tenant will have to do it. And at the end of the day, putting that aside, law and all these other things, it's for the benefit of the tenant as well. It creates transparency in a process that to this day didn't really have too much transparency over. They don't really know what they are charging for. And a lot of the times they can really even provide the documentation for what they are charging for. So having this sort of thing gives
now
some sense of control for the tenant on what happens to their security deposit.
Agreed. So now you leave, the tenant takes another computer visual inspection of their asset, uploads it again, and then what?
And then it's creating a report again for the property manager.
So it's matching move in to move out.
It's matching
perfectly.
It's matching the information perfectly, and then they can decide what they want to charge on, how much they want to charge on. They can export it, send it as a PDF or as a website link to the tenant, and then they can see exactly what they are charging for.
Right, because there is wear and tear, right? There's a certain amount that they can't charge for, right?
And some of our clients even say we want to do one a bit before they move out so they can see what issues they have there so they can fix it. Otherwise, they will be charging the security deposit. And then it gives also a chance for the tenant to fix their issues instead of being charged on the security deposit.
So I agree. I think it's obvious that it has value. Like, what a simple application of computer vision to a place where if you're right. You're trying to brand hospitality. You want people to feel good. Take out the human and them judging whether they perceive like you screwed that up or you messed that up. Or now you have this inherent friction where you're like, yo, here are the two different models, move in, move out, right? And here are the costs associated with. They could almost even state up front what they would charge for each thing, and you could even know. And there's no beef because it's not us arguing. We have two models that came from computer vision that has much more clarity than you and I.
No one feels cheated. And another thing, the tenant doesn't need to feel like someone is compromising their personal space. They just rented the place. They are there. They don't want an inspector, someone they don't know, to just come in, inspect the property, and go out. It's not really that comfortable for a tenant. And having this sort of thing that they can do themselves in their own time when it's convenient to them within a certain time frame,
of course,
is much more comfortable.
Interesting. There's all these companies out there like the guarantors and the rest of it. It would almost seem it would behoove them to say you have to work with you, meaning they should partner with you and just say, look, if we're going to guarantee your rent, right, and they get the credit card and whatever it is, and we're fronting and we're going to take that risk, why wouldn't they say, you know what? Let's leave it not up, because they probably have to worry about the landlords trying to cheat them. So right there, you're like, how about this? If you use guarantors, you have to use Paraspot, and there's no argument.
It's actually a really good idea.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Make sure I get my commission.
I mean, the guarantors, that's right. I mean, at the end of the day, they are the one that are
taking the risk.
Yeah. So it's really something that can be helpful for them as well.
All right. So let's talk about the business now. So were you the visionary and the programmer?
Well, depending on what you call the vision. I would say that I had the initial idea. I brought in my co-founder, but everything we do together.
No problem.
I
So
developed-
what is your complementary relationships? You shouldn't, you do different things, no?
Yeah, we do complement each other really well. He's more on the business development kind of side, selling to clients, getting partnerships on and everything like that. And I am managing the company, but initially I also done a lot of the programming.
Wow.
All of the programming.
And you know what we learned, and which is fascinating, as real estate is trying to make its implication and application of technologies, that you need someone who can, they call it a product manager, which basically can understand the tech, but can also explain it to real estate. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, these are like essential positions.
Exactly.
So where are you right now as a company? So you have this product. Where are the beachheads? Where are you actually using it? Where is it being implemented?
So we have been working with paying clients since day one for the past almost 2 years in
Okay.
Europe, now the US, and now we came here to New York to start expanding our business in the East Coast.
I mean, 100%. So did you learn, though, like from a like actual dollar value, like how much beef or what is the total dollar value that's like litigation on this specific point?
Yeah. So you have different types of property management companies. You have the ones that are doing multifamily, the ones that are doing single family, and even the ones that are doing serviced, furnished apartments kind of thing, which is sort of like a midterm rental between a 1 month to 1 year.
Sure.
Now, each of them has different ROIs to use this thing, but it varies between the 85 to 90% on the operational cost of managing these sort of processes, handling the turnovers, the disputes,
Sure.
the operations of inspecting the property, all of it.
So let me ask you, how many units are you currently like, how many units have you done this for now?
So far, we are working with around 3,000 to 4,000 properties in Europe and the US, and now we are expanding ourselves a bit further.
What's the goal? What's 2024? How many are we getting into?
The 2024 goal will be to get to approximately 30,000 units by the end of the year and keep growing for there. We have really expanding pipeline. We are really excited about this, excited to work with really great companies, great people that are looking to innovate and looking to improve their operations and are open to technology.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a simple, stupid thing. Like, a lot of the times real estate and technology, people get upset because they have to take such a big risk to take it. Like, what's the difference? You can actually have your manager go to the building and do your normal bullshit inspection and try your actual tech process at the same time and take zero risk, except for the cost of what that inspection is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we go to get a CAT scan or an MRI, and there's a sonogram, and you could pay $40 for AI, right? Now, I don't need a sonogram, but let's say, why wouldn't you pay $40? This computer can obviously see problems better than you can, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah. And
So where do they find you?
Well, we are available online on LinkedIn, our website, and all other places. We are trying to appear more now in the East Coast because we have been more known in Europe since it was our main point of operation so far. So our website, of course, Paraspot.ai.
So let me ask you, where do you go from here, though? Like, okay, so fine. We always talk about it. It's like the wedge in, right?
Yeah.
I think you could be in 30, 40,000 units. Like, unless, I don't know the reason why. Like, it's simple. It's easy.
Yeah.
Everyone will be calling tomorrow. Just do it. So it's really going to be about, can you get a guy out there or at least email the link because you're just so inundated. But let's say operations, everything is perfect. You're now in 30, 40,000 units. Now what?
Well, from a product standpoint, we want to keep expanding ourselves to more to what we do with the computer vision. At the end of the day, we want to make computer vision accessible for the real estate industry, and there is a lot of different ways that it can affect them on ongoing maintenance, on helping managing the security deposits, on the inspections and turnover operations, insurance. There are a lot of different places where it can have a lot of effect.
And I asked you this before, and it was off camera, but I'd love to say it on camera. What's your moat? And you told me, you were very confident, like other people can't do this. And there was a specific reason. What was it?
Well, I don't know what specific reason you're inferring to, but the few reasons that no one can do what we do. I mean, first and foremost, our technology is not really accessible for anyone to know. Everything is happening in the background. And we have models that we've developed ourselves, data that we have been using ourselves that no one else has. It's not data that we have collected online or bought or any of this sort. It's real-time data.
Right. And
real
people,
data
that is what you answered,
that
by
we
the
have
way.
collected over three years in Europe, US, from people doing inspections, from people taking images, videos, all of it.
And that's exactly what you stated, because we were talking about it and we were like, which companies, when you talk about AI, are like the ones you worry about? And you were like, those with their own data, right? Because it was specifically collected for the purpose of their own training model.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what about you guys? You're like, we've only collected this data for inspections.
Yeah.
So that's why our training models are 100 times better. Because if anyone came to an owner and said, we use computer vision for inspections, if they don't know what a hole in the wall looks like, or a different type of screw, or missing a handles, and without having a massive training model behind it, it's worthless.
Yeah. At the end of the day, with inspections, you can't really be shy of almost completely accurate. You want to make sure that you're not missing anything. If you're missing something, you don't want to have a situation with the property manager. You don't want to have a situation with a tenant. You don't want to have these sort of things. Of course, we're trying to make sure that they have accessibility to the entire data. So even if we happen to miss something, they will be able to see it. But so far, we didn't get any complaint from any.
Yeah, but even like, I feel like the most important thing is, and people's perception is, oh, is it 100 times better than a human? I think it's obvious it's better. So why wouldn't you use it? Like it's the weirdest thing. It doesn't have to be.
So funny thing, one of our first clients, they were really a great design partner. They worked with us even before we released it because they really wanted this sort of solution. They really needed it. So what we did with them is once we released the solution and let them start using it, they did their own inspections while at the same time using our inspections. And
100%.
they saw the differences. They saw that we were able to identify things that their operator just skimmed through or didn't even consider as an issue, or didn't even see it. And these were significant issues, damages to the panels, damages to the walls, or even to the stove.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for any tenant, because the way I look at it, there's no downside, right? If I'm a tenant and I'm moving in, I want computer vision to pick up all the small shit. So they can't say later on that because of freeze thaw cycle, the wood is spreading. It's like, nope, The wood was already spreading. The fact that it's exacerbated just means that it was a cold winter or whatever it was, but it's not like I did that.
The thing
right?
about it is that it's benefiting both sides. The tenants are getting a benefit out of it because they are not being charged on something that they didn't do. And the property manager is benefiting from it because they keep track on the condition of the property. They know exactly what issues they have. They can charge from the security deposit without any hassle. And they don't need to spend money on their operations, on inspecting the properties and managing those sort of operations surrounding the turnover and disputes and inspections.
Let me ask you, though, from an investment perspective, one, are you guys looking for capital just in general? Or are you like, actually, no, the business itself is making its own money. We actually aren't looking for outside capital.
So we have finished our seed round very recently, but with the right partner, we would be more than willing to open it up to have, someone else join as well and bring.
But what do you think
funding.
about this? Just because it's like, I have a feeling, I don't know if it's you go public with inspections and what it becomes, but like as a business, right? If you're fine, you're saying you might need some investment because it goes from 5,000 units to 30,000 units, but it literally works. And it's almost like you don't want outside investors because it may not be necessary. You're just trying to do it to accelerate faster, to get into more units. It's like you need investment for marketing dollars. You don't need it for the tech and you don't need it for the intros. It's like you're going to get into everyone anyway.
The fact that we are first in, we want to make sure to capitalize on it.
Right,
and we want to make sure that we can scale as fast as possible. And at the end of the day, it won't remain just as an inspection and turnover solution. There are a lot of things that we want to expand to, and there are a lot of things that we want to deploy our computer vision technology and combine it with even other models of AI to improve operations of property.
And it's like you're the first to be in the building with AI using computer vision. It's a very privileged space to be.
Yeah, for this specific situation.
All right, last question, because I always ask. So besides dealing with all this tech and business and the rest of it, what are you doing for fun now that you moved to New York?
I just moved, so I don't really know. I mean, literally 5 days ago, I came in during the evening, didn't even settle the entire apartment, but I said I have to go and be in the podcast with Eric Brody.
Of course. And our audience has to tell him what kind of trouble he's supposed to get into 5 days in New York. Let us know. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on. It's very rare that we're seeing technology that is simple, effective, and worthwhile. I just want you to know that. And for one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, it's like people always have these grand strategies of like these esoteric technologies that may change the game. And it's like yours is like, yeah, how about this really simple application that works?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, brother, man.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Of course. In conclusion, episode 50, as we do right about this time, is it a medicine or is it a vitamin? It is so obvious, stupid, keep it simple, whatever you want to say, that this is a medicine. The application of computer vision to the inspection process is a no-brainer. His secret sauce, the training model. Do you know what a training model is? If you don't, write it down, look it up, figure it out. Because what he's doing, it's obvious. Imagine that you're the tenant. Boom, we know every nook, every cranny. The landlord can't play you. Imagine you're the landlord. There doesn't have to be beef with the tenant on your move out, whether you did something or not. It's obvious. The pixelation, the idea that our eye can pick up what this can, it's obvious that this works. To me, medicine. Me, I want to find out more. You, check out Paraspot AI. And if you want to learn more, hit me up. Peace, people.